The small, colourful Nicaraguan town of San Juan de Oriente is an hour's drive south of the nation's capital, Managua. San Juan is well known for its artwork and has been a pottery centre since pre-Columbian times. Today, this place is home to many family-run workshops where a world-renowned style of pottery is produced.
Arts and crafts really are popular here. It's fair to say that this town is the cradle of Nicaraguan artisans. What we produce here is something unique. Everything that we make with our hands. I learned how to knead the clay from my grandmother, and she also taught me how to extract it from the ground, how to prepare it, the whole process really.
San Juan de Oriente is also known throughout this land for a festival which takes place every year. The Fiestas Patronales has been celebrated here for over 400 years.
According to historians, the festival dates back to the time when Christopher Columbus arrived in America. They brought the image of our patron saint, San Juan Bautista, to the town. They built a church, and that's how the festival started amongst the local indigenous people here. And that's how it all began.
Marta Montero Calleos is the mayordomo, or chief steward of the festival. Maria and her colleagues make sure that the festivities run smoothly, and they're also in charge of the construction of the enramada, a large canopy in the centre of the town where people go to make their offerings to San Juan Bautista. One local man who knows all about this festival is Juan Carlos Jiménez.
It's the young people who are in charge of carrying the offerings and taking them to the enramada. At the entrance of the town is where we all meet. We dance there with the branches with which we carry our offerings through the town. It's all about having a good time. We also play a game called Chilios too. We then make our way towards the enramada.
It can be a dangerous activity carrying these offerings through the narrow streets, and those taking part, and even those watching on, have to keep their wits about them.
The reason why people run is that they want to arrive first and get the best place for their offerings. It's like a competition, and it looks like many people are racing each other. But they're not really, they just want to get their offerings to the enramada as quickly as they can.
It takes a lot of effort to haul these branches, which are laden with mostly fruit, high up into the roof. Falling branches and coconuts only add to the drama. Yet this is not the main event of the festival, it's merely the precursor. Once the offerings are safely stowed, one of the world's most unusual sword-fighting competitions gets underway, and the action is not for the faint-hearted.
Traditionally, these weapons are called chilios, and we make them here. This part is made from a dried bull's penis. The locals call it picha de toro. That's an informal word for penis. And this part here is called the garra, or claw. It's protection for your hand and for the chilio itself. The penis of the bull is short, so in order to make it this long, the raw piece of flesh is stretched. It's stretched and left hanging from a beam or from something else. Sometimes it's nailed in a wall and a heavy rock is put on the ends and left dangling. It's left to stretch for any time between 12 and 18 months. Then it is treated with fat to keep it soft and supple. Then once that is done, we can cut it to whatever length we want, usually around 30 inches. But that can vary depending on what each person wants. Some want a long one, and others prefer a shorter one. It's your choice, really.
The fights are contested on the streets in front of large crowds. From the age of 12, males and females take part in these often brutal encounters. If you wish to fight, you simply raise your sword and jump up and down to attract a challenger. Once underway, the action is intense. The rules seem straightforward enough.
First, you whip your opponent. Then you cover up whilst your opponent takes their turn to whip you back. You're not allowed to argue with your opponent. If you win, that's good. If your opponent wins, you have to accept it. It doesn't matter if your head is scratched or if your back swells up. You have to just forget about that. The winner is the person most skilled with their weapon.
Most of the fights last less than a minute, but that's still enough time for the weapon to leave its mark on the body.
It does hurt, but only a little. We're used to it.
There's no grand champion declared at the festival. For the people of San Juan de Oriente, the most important thing is keeping their traditions and culture alive.
This tradition is over 400 years old, and we can't lose it. Children dance to the music from a very young age, and they love it. We are trying to make sure that it lives on. So we play it every year. It's a sport, a tradition, and we grow up with it. We've inherited it, and we'll continue to play it. It must never die out. It's too important to us for that to happen.